here we go. Thank you for joining us if you're still following, and if not, please tweet out the stream. Let people know that what we're up to. My name is Chris. So you're joining me over here at Fire and Dice for our Legacy Monthly. We're going to go switch over to our feature match. It's going to be between Matthew Reis and Chris Lawson. Matt Reis over here on Death and Taxes, while Chris Lawson is on Sneak and Show. So a fairly this is actually becoming more and more commonplace, this matchup. Sneak and Show has been quite popular since you watched GP Chiba, and prior to that it lost a little bit of its steam, a little bit of its sparkle. But where we're at now in the metagame, Sneak and Show has definitely seen a bit more of a resurgence. Oh. It's seen a little bit more of a resurgence, so which is good. We like to see, obviously, we like to see decks moving into and out of the metagame, just because that just represents a healthy metagame, right? That means certain choices are better than others, and that means we can rotate in and out. So, whereas Matthew Reis is playing a deck that we did see last round, and I do apologize for the somewhat lack of variety, considering that we could have some other matchups on for you. However, I do think that this will be an interesting match for the sole reason that this is the lone Sneak and Show player in the entire tournament, whereas Death and Taxes is the most represented deck in the tournament. I will go ahead and let's see if I can post this for you guys. We do have a small pie chart for you guys to look at, which is pretty sweet. I'll go ahead and post that in the chat now. The pie chart is going to go ahead and break down exactly what our metagame looks like today. We have 41 players, in case anyone was wondering. So 41 players, meaning we're going to be going 6 rounds in the top 8, and we've got a very diverse metagame. However, as with many of our previous tournaments, Death and Taxes has kind of dominated the Swiss. We have 5 copies, so that's a really good percentage. That is 12.2% according to this pie chart, which I think it should be correct at least. But one of the standouts that that is also shown up today, that's coming in second place in our metagame, is Dragon Stompy. There may be one deck in there that's not specifically Dragon Stompy, but we wrapped them up together because for the ease of it. So yeah, so that's kind of how our metagame is shaping up, and then we've got a couple decks, that sporadically 2s and 3s of, like Burn and Sultai midrange are coming in 3 apiece, and then Blackguard Reanimator, Goblins, Miracles, Grixis Delver, and 4-color Loam all make appearances in decks that are being played in numbers more than 1. Everything else is about a 1 of, and we've got again a very healthy and diverse metagame, and the fact that there aren't that many Miracles players in the room is quite telling as well. It just goes to show you what kind of state the format is in, that Miracles might not be the best choice necessarily in an open metagame, which to me is pretty interesting. So gonna go ahead and jump into this match here. Hopefully I fixed some of the glare issues. It looks like I have, well, but we will see. Matthew Reis is going to go ahead and take a look at his opener. He sees a basic, and I believe it's a Wasteland. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and... Oh, they're in the middle of a mulligan. I was not even paying attention. So, in the middle of their mulligan, Matthew Reis looks like he's going to go ahead and keep Chris Lawson keeping his 6 as well. And I believe we're good to go. All right. Leading Mystery Rainforest, not giving away information quite yet. Although Mystery... Oh, man, the glare is even worse. Might have to fix that again. All right, let's see what I can do. From where I'm sitting, Chris Lawson goes a pass after a... How do we fix this glare? I mean, I hate to be doing this while we're streaming, but no, that's not going to fix it. All right, so that's not going to fix it. How about making it darker? That's not going to fix it either. Looks like I have to fix the lighting on the actual feature match area. That will have to wait till at least this next game. And let's see how it goes. But yeah, Chris Lawson looks like he's going to go ahead and crack both of his fetch lands here, in the face of a Thalia, which is actually big game for Matt Reis. This is going to mean that all of Chris's spells clearly are going to cast 1 more in the face of the Thalia, but that's going to slow down his progression quite a lot. Chris Lawson going for island, probably a second island. Yeah, he's going to go double island here, because now that he knows he's playing against Death and Taxes, he's going to want to get basics rather than his dual lands, just because he doesn't want to fall prey to Wasteland. That would definitely be a very fast way to kind of lose out. And here, see, so instead of not in response to Thalia, Chris decides to brainstorm using both his lands, which I think is somewhat unfortunate. I think if I were in Chris Lawson's position, and maybe there are cards in his hand that he doesn't want to shuffle back, but if I were in Chris Lawson's position, I think there's very little opportunity cost in just putting the Thalia on the stack and resolving the brainstorm, and then seeing kind of where to go from there. There may be you know. There may be some instances where that's not the case, but I think in here, unless he has an Ancient Tomb or a City of Traders in his hand, I don't see either. Then I can't see this being like the better play. Oh, and he main phases that. Wow, I think he was. So it looks like he was just trying to find a land, and it looks like he did. He found a fetch land, which is a good one. So he's gonna be able to shuffle away the top cards of his library, see some fresh new cards. And it looks like Matthew Reis is gonna want to start dishing in the beats. Chris takes 2 here from Thalia with first strike. I mean, not that that actually changes anything necessarily, but the first strike is relevant in combat against other creatures, but here it's not going to matter that much. Oh, let's go ahead and get this fixed up for you guys. Couple. Still fixing the layout. The layout, however, is much better this time. It's got life total, so that's good. And then we are adding everything, all the other relevant info. Both of these. Oh no, these players are 1-0. There we go. All right, so looks like Matthew Reis going for a Recruiter of the Guard. Now, looking at his deck list, what could he want here? I mean, his choice is clear on the screen, but what could he want otherwise? I mean, Spear of the Labyrinth is another kind of lock piece. Sanctum Prelate is also something that he could get, maybe naming 3. That would be pretty devastating to Chris at this point. And we could also get Thalia Heretic Ithar. That doesn't really do anything, does it? Yeah, I think those are all reasonable choices. I did not see, unfortunately, what he got, though. But Chris here, he's going to go ahead and fetch. Going to go to 15 for paying 1 life with his fetch land. But he's on 4 mana now, so there's a reasonable chance he could play Show and Tell. I did see it in his opener. I don't know what his card of choice is, however, or his fatty of choice. If it's Omniscience, all the better. But if it's not, we're going to get at least 1 turn with whatever creature that is. And if Chris taps out here, he can't actually Force of Will because he won't have the mana to cast through Thalia. So Matthew Reis may have a removal spell, for example. So Show and Tell is happening here. Looks like Matthew Reis is obviously, I mean, it's going to resolve, but we're looking at what is going to go into play. And if Chris gains 15 life, I mean, it's buying him a lot of time. It's not really where he wants to be, but it is somewhat where he wants to be. So let's see where this goes for Matt Reis. So I can't quite make out. Again, the light is making it super problematic. I do apologize, guys. We'll get that fixed up for you on the preceding turn. Looks like... Huh. Did not see what that card was, but it looks like a Flicker... Was it a Flicker Wisp? No, it was Revoker, probably. No. So Chris is going to go ahead and pay 7 life. Going to go to 8 here. Oh, it was a Caracas. It was a Caracas on Matthew Reis's part. Chris Lawson goes ahead and draws... goes to 8. Now he's moving to his discard step. Well then. So that Show and Tell is going to go? That's an interesting choice. I guess it's really poor against Caracas. He's going to want Omniscience to cast... Actually, this is very awkward. So Chris Lawson in actually a rough spot here. Maybe going for the Show and Tell there wasn't as prudent as he thought it would be. But here's the thing. I think in the face, especially in the face of Athalia, he needed to kind of make a move. He's running on limited turns. He's going to be taking 3 damage a turn, it looks like. So although it's not like the most pressure in the world, the fact that the Thalia is taxing all of his spells really makes this problematic. But it looks like he's got a backup Show and Tell anyways, coupled with Force of Will. So he's going to take 3 here, go to 5, and we're going to see. I mean, we got to see something soon, right? Like he's got to make a move. Whereas think Matthew Reis has a Sanctum Prelate in his hand, and I think it's good to cast here, saying the number should be 3. I want to say he's going to he's going to. Oh, looks like we don't have. Oh, we're going to also Wasteland that Volcanic Island. Wow, this is really rough for Christopher Lawson. And we'll see what he does when he draws his card here. But it doesn't look like he's going to strike gold. Oh, was that a Soul Land? It is. It's an Ancient Tomb. But yeah, he's paying quite a bit of life. I mean, 2's quite a bit in this spot. What's he gonna do? He's got Brainstorm after playing his land. All right, so we're gonna Brainstorm after playing our land. Not necessarily incorrect, but still very rough. Like I don't see. Yeah, this is hard. I mean, and there's a Caracas in play, so I don't think there's anything Chris can do necessarily here. But he's not dead. He is at 5. He's gonna have one more turn after this Brainstorm, but might not be enough. I mean, the simple fact that there is a... Yeah, it looks like we're going to go ahead and go to game 2. Yeah, the simple fact that we have a Sanctum Prelate is making things very, very, very difficult for Chris. So we're going to go ahead and go to game 2. We're going to adjust the score here. And you know what, guys? I'm going to take a small breather just to go ahead and correct the lighting for you guys. I will be right back very shortly. All right, guys, we're back. We're moving into game 2 here with Matthew Reis and Chris Lawson. I did manage to help a little bit with the lighting. It might not be enough, but please let us know in the chat or anywhere else really. Let's see. Let's see. Gonna go ahead and move into this round 2, like I said, or game 2, like I said. Sorry, just distracted by a couple of messages coming in through the feed. Need to reply to most of those, right? I mean, we want to make sure that you guys are getting the information that you need. And Matthew Reis going to be on the play here versus Chris Lawson. Let's see. Chris Lawson has a reasonable hand. That looks like, I don't know what that red card is. Is that Blood Moon? Ooh. I don't know if I love Blood Moon in this spot, but I guess on the play it's slightly better. Chris Lawson going to start with a fetch land, and I believe it's that Ponder that he was thumbing to the front. Yep. Okay, so we're going to go Ponder. And obviously this makes the Blood Moon a little bit better if he can find a soul land, but this, I can't imagine that's better than the alternative. But I guess it does turn off Caracas, which is really important. So lead with this Ponder and then see what happens. A lot of shuffling going on over here. But in the meantime, I guess just kind of like to map out this matchup, Chris Lawson being on the play is, in most matchups, I would say, Chris Lawson being on the play is huge. He's going to get a lot of access to interact with whatever Matthew Reis is doing. So in case there's a turn 2 Thalia coming on or coming down, or even a turn 1 Aether Vial, both of which are a little problematic for Sneak and Show to deal with, just because there are a lot of creatures that want to interact with what the Sneak and Show player is doing, what the strategy is. So in this respect, I think having access to, again, any form of interaction, and even the Blood Moon might seem pretty reasonable if he can find like a soul land here. And not liking his top 3 cards, Chris is going to go ahead and fetch. He doesn't show us that card. A little bit of a discipline move, not wanting to reveal any information. But Matthew Reis having ooh, Pithing Needle, probably naming. I would imagine at least it's going to name Sneak and Show. Let's see. What is Chris draw? So what did he draw last turn? I can't actually make it out. Looks like he drew a Grizzlebrand last turn. And he has 2 fetch lands and a Blood Moon. Oh man, this is kind of rough. Let's see. All right. Cavern of Souls. My presumption is naming human. And he's going to say go. Oh, interesting. He doesn't have a turn 2 play. I wonder if that means he has a Sanctum Prelate in his hand, or a... more likely he has a... more likely he has a... not Sanctum Prelate, the other one. Recruiter of the Guard, of which there are a few copies in his deck. There are 3, I want to say. There are exactly 3 in him there. And I think, even more importantly... Oh, so cool. I'm sorry, Chris is going to go ahead and fetch, loses a life. Even more importantly, I think we didn't get to discuss this because I had to leave, but in the sideboard, Matthew Reis doesn't mind having access to Aethersworn Canonist, Containment Priest, and even perhaps Council's Judgment, but that's asking a lot. But he obviously did bring in the Pithing Needle. I think that's acceptable. The Blood Moon's going to turn off this this cavern, and Chris Lawson, he gets ambushed by a Containment Priest, which is actually even better than. Actually, honestly, even better than some of the other options. This means Chris is not going to be able to sneak and show, or sneak attack, or show and tell anything into. Let's see. Gets in for 2, and then we're going into second main, and then Matthew Reis is thinking about his options here. Stoneforge Mystic. All right, Stoneforge Mystic resolves. I wonder. I mean, we just want the clock. I think we're gonna get Batterskull. It was like on the very bottom too. But I think in this instance we just want the clock. So we're more than likely gonna get that. But I mean, honestly, Sword of Fire and Ice is not bad either. It's the same clock, right? Actually, it is the same clock. However, it does protect a little bit from Jace, which is good. We don't want this. We don't want this Containment Priest to get bounced. So actually, yeah, that's a reasonable choice. Containment Priest getting bounced would be very bad. Lotus Petal. Give giving Chris access to his 5th mana, but yeah, nothing to beat this Containment Priest. He needs to kind of rally a little bit. I think maybe the Blood Moon was a little... Let's see. All right, we're going to put the Sword of Fire and Ice into play on the Containment Priest. Wow, we're cracking for quite a bit of damage here. That's 4, 5, 6. Puts Chris to 10. And Matthew Reis is going to draw a card. Yeah, that speeds up the clock considerably. It is the same clock as Batterskull, but Chris is finding this very difficult. I think from Chris's sideboard, he wanted an Engineered Explosives, definitely. But let's see. Which we did see, I should say. He saw Engineered Explosives. We see Blood Moon now, obviously. Grim Lavamancer would be fine as well. And let's see. Jace the Mind Skulls would be good. Vendilion Click would be pretty reasonable, but at this point, the Sword of Fire and Ice is just going to wrap this up. We're going to go to combat first. This will be 6, 7, puts Chris to 10. Matthew Reis draws a card here from his Sword of Fire and Ice. And this might be locking up the game. This might be it. Phyrexian Revoker, and what's it going to name? The redundancy of... Yeah, looks like... Chris Lawson, what are we doing to see his hand? Why are we... I can't... Oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, Chris Lawson not able to kind of battle through this impressive suite of denial from Matthew Reis. He's got Containment Priest, Pithing Needle, and also this Phyrexian Revoker. So we're going to get a shuffle from Chris, but I think he's... this is quite hard to beat. Oh, and then obviously a Sword of Fire and Ice. So a lot of these pieces that Matthew Reis hasn't played basically say, I don't want you to play Magic. Chris also got to draw his card, and does he strike gold? I highly doubt it. Like, the only thing I could see is Show and Tell Omniscience, but I don't know if... I actually don't know if Chris Lawson has that in his... He does not have... Oh, he has 2 of Omniscience. Okay. Which means he could Show and Tell that potentially. So Show and Tell. Matthew Reis looks at his hand. Maybe there's an artifact or a land he can put into play. Chris Lawson goes for that. Can't because of Containment Priest. Gets exiled. We're going to go and, yeah. So Matthew Reis takes that. Like I said, Death and Tax is a very, very good metagame choice in general. It is, I believe, at least in my opinion, it's overrepresented at these tournaments. There are quite a few. Like I said, there's 5. This is the only Steak and Show player at the tournament, so that is how that one's going to break down. But we're going to go and see if we can get our backup match on for you guys, and we will cut to that in just a moment. Give us one moment, and